Bill, welcome, man.
Thanks.
Yeah,
Thanks for having me.
absolutely. We had some trouble with the other platform, so thankfully I've got a backup platform. Let's get real close. You ready for this?
Let's do it. Oh, wow.
Oh yeah. Now we're real close, right? So I want to just get to know you a little, man, because I bet there's a lot of MSPs that are here going, who the heck is Bill Black? And does he know he spelled planet wrong?
I'm that guy, right? Yeah. Yeah. So what do you want to know, Steve?
I want to know what, give us like the 5-minute version of your career that led you to this point.
I can't do it in 5 minutes, but I can get you pretty close.
Yeah.
So I learned about computers and technology in the gas station industry. So I used to work on gas pumps for a living. And when I worked on gas pumps, the natural progression was that we started using digital displays and digital for gas pump technology. And then when we got into credit cards at the gas pump, and the credit card processing was done on a Windows NT 3.5 workstation back in the building. And so I learned about Windows NT, and then that got me started. And it eventually led me to the point to where I started my own IT company, which then became an MSP. And in 2012, I worked in that company. I had that company for about 13 years. And then in 2012, I had a conversation with someone at IT Nation that just happened to have a checkbook in their hands at the same time. I was going through a lot of MSP challenges. And so I got bought out. And so one of the things that I noticed, or one of the things that always, that I always struggled with, was the fact that I had this great tool called ConnectWise. And I would go to conferences. I would go to IT Nation. I would go to the user group meetings. I would go to CharTech. I would go to all these great places and some extremely good information, good networking. And then I would get back to work and I just didn't have time to do anything. On top of that, at all these networking events, man, I talked to a lot of people, but I couldn't find anybody that would put the tool together for me. That would, because I knew what the tool would do. I knew what ConnectWise would do. It's much more comprehensive than a tool. I shouldn't be calling it a tool. I knew what ConnectWise would do, but I didn't have the mechanics to put it together. So after I sold my IT company and I transitioned out of the other one, that's what I wanted to focus on, was to help other MSPs just get ConnectWise working the way it's designed. Just basically, we've got this comprehensive package to operate our business. Let's just make it work. And so I started FocusPlanIt, 2012. I'm getting into the 10th year of business here, and it's just been fantastic. I've met a lot of people, helped a lot of people get their systems put together, and we've had a good time. That's it in a nutshell.
Yeah, that's fantastic. All right. So let's talk about what you've got opinions, right? ConnectWise, Datto, Kaseya. Why do you still focus on ConnectWise today? Why haven't you, I guess I could put myself back on the screen now. Why haven't you branched out?
Well, the biggest thing is that ConnectWise is such a comprehensive package that can do so many things for companies of all sizes that, it takes a lot of resources to branch out and try to become a specialist in a lot of different areas. And, when I had my MSP, you know, wherever all the knowledge was, you know, a mile wide and an inch deep, right? So you were kind of a generalist in a lot of things, but no specific specialties. So what I wanted to do here was just to specialize in something. And the thing I was most comfortable with, that I saw the most MSP struggle with, was ConnectWise. So, we do concentrate on ConnectWise for that reason. You know, we branch out in terms of the integrations and understanding things like QuickBooks and Gozenta and, you know, all the tools that integrate. But at the same time, our core package is the knowledge of ConnectWise and how it affects your business. Yeah. So a lot of it, a lot of the reason for that, Steve, is just resources, right? There's only so many hours in a day, and ConnectWise is, you know, in my opinion, the leading player right now. And, ConnectWise is the one that I know the best. So that's kind of where we went with that.
That makes really good sense, actually. Okay.
It's kind of like a vertical, right? ConnectWise is our vertical.
Okay. And how does it feel to be wrong?
How does it feel to be wrong? I don't know, man, because I don't use a Mac.
Oh, that was good. I'm proud of you. That was good, man. Oh man, that hurts. All right, so when you say that you do, like, I don't know, you do all this really great consulting and stuff, like, do you have any cool tips, tricks for anybody that's thinking to themselves, I need to hire this guy? Like, is there something that an MSP needs to do before they bring you in? Does that make sense?
So one of the biggest things with MSPs is that, you're scattered, your day is scattered. You're chasing things all day long. And if, you know, from a time management perspective, I get that. I do the same thing to some degree, but everything that I chase gets corralled into ConnectWise. And once it's in ConnectWise, then I can take the next action on it. I can schedule it, or I can assign it to someone, or I can, you know, put it into a status where I'm waiting on something and then have things happen. So the biggest thing, the thing that drives the most anxiety is the fact that, you know, you've got Outlook, you've got all these different tools and all these different things to use. But if you could consolidate all of it into the package that you have invested in, then you're able to manage that more effectively, right? Because the tool built in to manage it. And what we see is that, if someone's not following the quote to cash process within ConnectWise, then it's going to affect, you know, like the finance end of things, the people that are doing invoicing. When you're doing your invoicing, if it takes you a long time to do it, that means that something didn't go through the system correctly. So it's those kinds of things that you have to kind of concentrate on and get all your information into ConnectWise based on the design of the program, and it'll make your life a little bit easier.
Okay. So it sounds like that's the kind of stuff that you're going to help them set up, though, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So let's talk about, I know I've got MSPs of all sizes in my audience, but I really love helping the little guy.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So let's talk about the little guy. He says, you know what? I've scrounged up some cash.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to hire Bill. I'm going to hire FocusPlanIt. I'm going to have them come in and I'm going to have them just completely set up all my stuff in my ConnectWise. What can the little guy do before calling you to, like, make sure they've got all their ducks in a row, that they're as prepared as they can be? Because when you're strapped for cash,
mm-hmm.
we want to make sure we can like maximize the value of the dollars we're going to spend. Because let's be honest, hiring you, I suspect isn't going to be the cheapest thing, but it's going to be the most profitable thing that somebody could do over the long haul. Right.
Yeah. We typically find, the most effective thing on a person to person level for the smaller MSP is for that MSP to just be completely open with us when we first engage and tell us everything that's going on. Right. And we get into there because what happens, if I'm a smaller MSP, it's just me, or if it's me and 2 or 3 other people, I'm doing a lot of things that may or may not be in ConnectWise. And so therefore, when we engage and we go into your ConnectWise and look around, we may not see everything because you may be running things out of spreadsheets, or you may be invoicing directly out of QuickBooks, or, things like that. So it's a great question, Steve, because the biggest thing that we find is that as soon as you engage with us, let us know everything. Just open up, and I always, we always kind of joke around, but it's real that we're part consultants and part business therapy, because we get it. We've all been there. The team is very, experienced in this industry and in business in general. So we get it. And so when you're a smaller MSP and you want to engage, get a hold of me. We'll have that conversation. We'll try to work everything out. The clients that we have incidentally, they range from a 1-person shop to, 5,000 or 6,000 employees. So yeah, so we do empathize with the smaller MSPs for sure.
So if I said to you, let's help the little guy.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do something really cool for them right now.
Mm-hmm.
Can you give us like make these 5 changes in your ConnectWise to immediately see XYZ? You know what I mean?
Yeah. One of the biggest changes is don't overcomplicate things. If you can simplify what you have in your ConnectWise, then it makes it easier to operate. The second thing is understand the quote to cash process in ConnectWise, so that that you're developing that process early, and as you scale, as your business grows, that process will grow with you. It'll expand into the people that, the proper roles that are getting it done. And so the 2 things off the bat: simplify and understand the quote to cash process. And I'm happy to go over that quote to cash process with you at some point in the future. Keep track of your, from a sales perspective, keep track of your opportunities in ConnectWise, and then you have an idea, then what your pipeline's going to look like. The simplification is the biggest thing. A lot of times during the initial ConnectWise implementation, things have a tendency to get out of proportion, proportion to the business. But when we implement ConnectWise from the ground up, we always like to keep it simple. We want to keep it as simple as possible, because you can always expand on it later. So simplification is a big thing.
Okay. Is there somewhere that we can go and like read about or learn the quote to cash process? Because I suspect you didn't like coin this, right?
No, I did not. So the ConnectWise University has information about it. That they call it the ConnectWise life cycle in the university. What we've done is we've taken that concept and at a very, we've taken it and we go to businesses, we go to our clients' offices. Like I literally just got back from Midland, Texas, the other day. Went to the client's office, and all day I was up there on a whiteboard explaining the quote to cash process with the team sitting around, and then the team could get involved in their parts of that process. So I'm not sure if that answered your question. Yeah.
So I'm sorry, you said ConnectWise calls it something slightly
The
different.
ConnectWise lifecycle.
Okay, so they call it the ConnectWise lifecycle, and I'm sure if I were to open up Google and I type in ConnectWise lifecycle,
I don't know what you'd see. Hopefully you see FocusPlanIt.
fair. I see lifecycle insights.
Yeah, in the university.
No, well, to be clear, I'm not a ConnectWise partner.
Oh, okay.
So
Gotcha. Yeah.
I literally just went to Google and typed it in
Yeah.
to try and see if I could find it somewhere.
Yeah.
So, that's okay though. So if I said to you, is there one, because ConnectWise, manage,
Mhm.
automate,
Manage.
whichever one their PSA is, why'd they have to rename things? So,
Yeah.
so in their PSA, do they have like a dashboard thing these days?
Yeah, there are different like reports and dashboards that are built in. There are other dashboarding tools out there that are a little bit more effective that some of our MSPs use. Things like Cognition 360, which uses a it's a powerful analytics platform, uses Power BI. There's one out there called ConnectWise. ConnectWise does a great job. MSP CFO. There's different dashboards that you can get. Of course, BrightGauge, and so BrightGauge is a ConnectWise company. Yeah. So there are different dashboards that you can get that do a really effective job. But the core tools that are built in, the core reporting for a smaller MSP, they'll work just fine because the smaller MSP, maybe doesn't have time to do all those power analytics.
So what I'm trying to think of is if I were to sign into ConnectWise,
Mhm.
am I taken to dashboard that's got like a couple charts and gauges? Because that's what I think of. Like if I were to sign into Autotask
Mhm.
or even Synchro,
Mhm.
like they've got, I'll call it like almost an executive summary type of thing to
Right.
show me here's where we are for business.
Right. Yeah, that's accessed in ConnectWise. Not as soon as you sign in. I mean, there's a today page and you can put a dashboard there. But,
Okay.
the most powerful reporting is inside the system itself. So, yeah.
So if I were to build a dashboard on the today page, I can build it and have a couple gauges or charts or something along those lines.
Mhm.
So for the smaller MSP, are there any I'm going to just say dashboard options because I don't care what it looks like. I don't care if it's a gauge or a pie chart or whatever, right?
Mhm.
Are there any dashboard options that you say small MSPs probably aren't looking at because they haven't customized anything, but they should because it's going to give them much better insights into their business?
Yeah, some of the most powerful dashboards that are in ConnectWise for a smaller MSP be under the service module.
Okay.
There are service, ticketing dashboards where you can track, time on tickets and things like that. SLA metrics, things like that. So dashboards and reports under the service module or for the smaller MSP. Obviously,
Perfect.
you can look at things like the sales pipeline, or you can look at things like, the financial dashboard from the finance perspective. But for the smaller MSP, if you start digging into something like the financial dashboard, for example, it may or may not be accurate based on how your system is set up. So it may create a lot of questions for you. So those are the kinds of things that we kind of help figure out. If you look at the financial dashboard under the finance module and it doesn't seem quite right to you, then those are the things that we help figure out. There's something going on in there, and then we'll help you make the logic work.
All right.
Yeah.
So let's say I'm interested in hiring you. I want you to help me. And here's where I say I'm looking for something really specific.
Mm-hmm.
I've been on ConnectWise for years, and it is a really great ticketing system. That's, so a lot of MSPs pay for these big, awesome PSAs, and they're just really, overly powerful, overly expensive ticketing systems. So I want to start getting more out of this tool. I don't know that I want to dive in and just revamp the whole system. Let's start small. Do you have I'll call it modules where if I said to you, all right, I get it. You've got your quote to cash system. I'm not ready to just dive all the way in. Can I dip my toes in? And maybe we set up the quote module, or we set up this module or something like that.
Absolutely. Yeah. If you're having problems with service, for example, service board, service workflows, projects, we do get, very specific. So let's say, for example, you want to start using the project module because of you got to be able to have projects in place. Mm-hmm. Then, we'll, reach out to us and we'll work specifically on the project module itself, train on how to use it, make sure it's set up with correct statuses, project types, et cetera. Same with the service area, any of the areas. Now, the one thing to consider though, one thing to know about ConnectWise is that every little thing that you put into the system is going to end up in finance. So if you're saying, hey, it's supposed to, my invoicing is taking me 2 days to do it, and invoicing shouldn't take more than 5 minutes. Well, then we can't just focus on the invoicing. We have to look back and see, is something going on with the service ticket or time entries? Is there something going on with the way we're quoting, and things like that? So in certain areas we can get surgical, but others we have to broaden it up.
That makes perfect sense. I guess I just wanted to make sure that if somebody does want to acquire your services, mm-hmm. that they don't have to sign up for the whole, we're going to revamp your whole ConnectWise process. We can just help you do something very specific. We can do one-off projects, that type of stuff.
Yeah, it's more of a, let's just talk. Let's talk about what's going on, and then we can talk about what would be, involved in getting you some relief in how you're using the system.
So let's talk about, and I think we have to be careful with how we word this. I also think I'm about to sneeze. It just won't happen. So there may be a mass exodus coming from another PSA. You never know. But it's like there's a mass exodus from one platform to another every year, right?
Yeah.
So let's just say for one reason or another, there's a mass exodus and a whole bunch of people switch to ConnectWise. Mm-hmm. They get signed up. Mm-hmm. And during the sign up process, they pause on the sign up because they see ConnectWise wants however many hundreds or thousands for implementation, and it's a required fee, right? Mm-hmm. So if we were to say, hey, Bill, I want to sign up for ConnectWise. I want to switch from XYZ platform, get signed up with ConnectWise. Are you able to do the implementation where I pay you instead of ConnectWise?
So I can't speak on behalf of ConnectWise and how they do their licensing. They may have a requirement to go through an implementation. I don't know, right?
Okay.
I will tell you that FocusPlanIt receives implementations from ConnectWise. We're an authorized third-party implementation consultant. So if you buy ConnectWise and you get like a 12-hour implementation, it's highly likely that it'll come to us and you'll get to meet us through that.
So let's say we do a ConnectWise purchase.
Mhm.
Can we like, I don't know, work with you and ConnectWise in the buying process to say, look, we want to buy ConnectWise. We want to get, the biggest, craziest implementation that you guys have to offer.
Mhm.
And we want Bill's company to do it.
No.
Like, is that?
So we're separate from ConnectWise, right?
Right.
So therefore we can't really get involved in the conversation, negotiation or whatever. So what I would offer is that when you buy ConnectWise, talk to the person that's selling it to you and say, hey, can I just buy this with no implementation? Because I don't want the implementation. And then contact us and we'll do the implementation for you.
Okay.
Right? Now, where that gets a little sticky is if you're buying ConnectWise and you're transitioning from Autotask or TigerPaw and you want to do a data conversion from your TigerPaw or Autotask, we can't get into the weeds with the data because ConnectWise owns the database, right?
Got it.
So if you're wanting to do that conversion, you can work with them to do the conversion and then come to us to do the full implementation.
So does it make sense? Like, is it ever a question of should I bring my data or not?
It is.
Okay.
Is. Yeah. It's about a 50-50 mix. Some companies want to bring that data and it drops into like for example, a TigerPaw archive service board where all the service tickets that you had in TigerPaw just dump into this read-only service board called the TigerPaw archive. Same with Autotask.
I never even thought to dump it into a whole separate service board.
Yeah, like an archive board. Yeah. And same with Autotask. It'll bring over all your companies and contacts and, but then the information any information that requires a database table to combine with another one is kind of split out and comes into the system that way. And there are people, in some cases, people say, well, man, our database is such a mess. Let's just leave it. We'll keep one license so we can get into it over the years as needed. But then we're going to start brand new with ConnectWise. And then we start with a brand new, clean, sparkling new, shiny, sleek, fast database.
And you said fast. So the more data we have in our ConnectWise, is that slowing down?
In the old days, you'd see that a lot. But now with the platform that they're on and the database improvements and performance improvements that they've done, we don't see that slowness. And I know a lot of people are going to call me out on that because you do have that spinning circle of death that you have. We don't see it as often. We work with MSPs all day, every day, and we're in and out of their databases. Don't see it as often as we used to, put it that way. So
okay,
it's been pretty rock solid for quite a while now.
Great. So now I'm going to ask probably the hardest question I'm going to ask you.
Uh-oh.
And it's not about mechanical keyboards. I'm sorry.
Yeah, good.
What does it cost to engage your company? I'm thinking maybe like an hourly rate, or if you have maybe some, I don't know, packages or something like that.
A lot of it's going to depend on the MSP. Yeah, a lot of it's going to depend on the MSP. If you just, for that reason, I don't like posting any prices or anything like that because it's just going to depend on who we're working with, who we're talking to, the complexity of what they're doing, and kind of what their long-term vision is and stuff like that. So, hard question.
It is. And I guess that's why I was thinking either if you have packages, it might be helpful to say, well, we only sell time in blocks of hours,
right.
And the smallest block we sell is X $1,000. That way, I know you probably don't want to disqualify people,
Right.
but at the same time, not everybody can be your customer, right?
Right.
So I guess what I'm just trying to do is how can we give MSPs of all sizes an idea of maybe you have a minimum engagement fee or anything to help them out?
So I can tell you a little bit about how we sell our services, and it might help. We sell our services in two ways. Actually, we have variations of a couple plans. So one service is just blocks of hours. You're just buying our time. And that starts out at a 5-hour minimum, $325 an hour. Okay. The service most people go with is size appropriate to, like I said, to the size of the MSP, to the complexities, to everything that's going on. We have a couple of really in-depth conversations before we price it. And that pricing is based on those criteria. And that is an annual plan. And we don't count hours at all. We just do the work that's needed in that annual plan. So the annual plan is the most effective. And it's also, most of our clients are on the annual plan, right? We also have a variation of the annual plan that we just started rolling out mid-year last year, which gives you, the annual plan is basically all the administration and management of ConnectWise, or basically your ConnectWise department down the hall. And then we also have the annual plan called Team Focus Plus, which is all the above. Plus we help you with pushing sales through all the way to invoicing. We create the invoices and have them sitting there waiting to go over to QuickBooks. So we basically become your ConnectWise department plus the back office services department.
So you've got a lot of different options. And right on schedule, the cat wants to walk across the desk. Never fails, right in the middle of a podcast. All right, cool. Well, that answers the question on what is it like to engage with you. There's options everywhere from we just want you to help us with something that's driving us nuts to we want you to completely manage our ConnectWise like we completely manage our client's IT.
Right. That's right.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, how can people reach you, Bill?
Just go to FocusPlanIt.com, and that's the best way. And if you just want to send an email, you don't want to hit the website, just send an email to sales@FocusPlanIt.com, and that'll hit our service board. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you're even using ConnectWise internally?
Yes, we do. Quite a bit. Yeah.
Good for you.
We do. And we do automate a lot of things in ConnectWise. So yeah, happy to show you all that.
Cool. Well, hey, thanks so much for being here, for being a guest. Thanks for struggling through all of those fun issues we were experiencing with the other platform.
Yeah. Absolutely. Thank you, Steve. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. And you know what that fun music in the background means?
Yeah.
I don't, because it's the first time I've ever done it.
That's it. Man, it usually means it's time to go.
It does.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, Bill. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. And I will catch you guys at the next episode.